Adjusted, make sure we are good to go. Welcome. Tonight, we're going to be talking about mindfulness meditation, eyes open versus eyes closed. That's what I'm going to be emphasizing. Slowly, little by little, I'm going to build us, build our way up there. And we're going to get to where we are going this evening. Give me just a second. I want to turn off my air conditioner because I don't like that background noise. Give me just a moment. Hey Asir, welcome. How are you doing? Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. If you can hear me and see me okay, go ahead and drop me a number 8 in the comments section. I'm going to log in on my computer so I can actually see the comments. So give me just a moment. Bear with me while I get set up here. And while I'm getting set up, you all can get set up. Go ahead and grab your pens and papers, notebooks, tablets. You will want to take notes. As always, I'm going to give some detailed information. I don't want to give anything watered down. I'm going to do my best today to give this practice its justice and its flowers. So you're definitely going to want to take notes. I'm going to be putting a lot of quotes in the comments section. I'm going to be putting resources in the comments section for you. So you're definitely going to want to take notes and write some of this information down so you have it for the future. Let me see what you say is here. Let me go back to the comments. Baby, that comment, the oil has enhanced me and my spell work tremendously. I am so glad to hear that, Asir. I'm so glad to hear you are loving your come hither oil. You are going to have to check that out on higheralignment.com. Remind me, Asir, and I'll bring that back up later on. But tonight we're going to be talking about the practice of mindfulness meditation, or shamatha. Is something that I recommend that everybody really get into. And recently on my Instagram, I had made a post about eyes open versus eyes closed meditation, or eyes closed versus eyes open, however you want to look at it. And it got a lot of traction and it got a lot of people asking me questions. And, I wanted to go ahead and dive into this topic. For me, I consider this an intermediate step on the path to shamatha. I would say intermediate to beginners to intermediate. Anybody can meditate with their eyes open, but I think that a lot of people are just used to meditating with their eyes closed, or they just have this concept of meditation and it always involves the eyes being closed. But there are many practices and many traditions where that is just simply not the case. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that tonight. I'm going to introduce you to some practices. Typically here I talk about mindfulness of breathing, and here and on my Instagram channel I really always talk about the Theravada method, which we're going to briefly explore a variety of methods this evening before we arrive at the method that we're going to arrive at. And once again, I'm building us up so we actually know where we're going. Anywhere along the way, if you have any questions, comments, experiences, feel free to drop those in the comment section. If you've been here before, you're not new to this, you're true to this, then I do keep notes. So I'm watching down here on my computer. I can see the screen and the comment section down here, but my camera is up here. So occasionally you will see me looking down. Give me some compassion and some kindness. I want to make sure that we're on track. And I want to make sure that I'm checking the comment section. So if you do have something, if you do have a question, I always say, please do not sit on the other side of this screen bamboozled and bewildered. We're here live for the people who are here. We're not worried about the people who are not here. We're worried about the people who are here. And if you are here, then I want you to get what you came here for. Okay, so please drop your questions and ask what you need. If you can hear me and see me okay, I just want to check one more time. I want to check my delay. Go ahead and drop me housekeeping in the comment section below, and that's going to let me know that we are ready to roll and we are ready to move forward with housekeeping. Go ahead and drop me housekeeping in the comment section below if you can hear me and see me okay. I'm going to run through a few things, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. And let me pull my quotes up Let me see. Can I get housekeeping? Can you hear me? Let's see. So my housekeeping item number one is going to be interaction. I've already kind of gone over that. If you have any questions, comments, experiences, even if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and drop those in the comment section. I will get back to you and answer any questions that you have. Sharing is caring. If you find this information valuable, if you know someone who you feel would be interested in learning about mindfulness meditation, hey Eric, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you know someone who would be interested in learning about mindfulness meditation, just like you're trying to grow, I'm trying to grow. So please go ahead and share this video with a friend, family member, loved one. And that's going to help me a lot, you know. Let's see. I have some texts and some resources for you. This evening, we're going to be working from the Attention Revolution. I'm going to pull this one out, A Spacious Path to Freedom by Karma Chagme. But if you are interested in mindfulness meditation and specifically the information that we're going to be going over tonight, I do advise that you go ahead and grab both of these texts. I am going to put those in the comment section. This is, you know, for about 3 years, I went live on Instagram. And so now I'm going live on YouTube. And it's still taking me, you know, a little bit to get used to. But one thing I do like is that I can put things in the comment section like this. So, you know, I wanted that to be in there a little bit better. So the first resource I'm putting here for you in the comment section is going to be the Attention Revolution. I'm going to have that link for you. And then the next one is going to be A Spacious Path to Freedom. And once again, I'm going to be pulling quotes and information from both of these texts, along with some other resources and things that I have compiled together for us to make sure that we have exactly what we need. I'm going to have time stamps in the video as well, so I am also keeping track of that. So in this section, we're talking about texts and resources. The next one that I'm going to drop in the comments section is going to be a mindfulness meditation practice, a guided mindfulness meditation practice here on the Higher Alignment YouTube channel. It is the Theravada method, and we're going to briefly talk about that this evening. But the practice that we're going to start venturing into comes from Dzogchen. And so that's what we're going to kind of lean into, but you can augment this practice. You can shift this practice. So you can do this exact practice and any time in the beginning when you're getting your body settled, you're getting your mind settled, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes or have your eyes hooded. And then you will just be able to continue through the practice and you'll know what to do. Once you've gone through the workshop and the information tonight, you can use that practice and practice mindfulness meditation with your eyes open. And I'm just dropping that one because I don't currently have a guided meditation on my channel specifically for mindfulness meditation with your eyes open. But you can practice any type of meditation or any type of mindfulness meditation with your eyes open. It's perfect. It's perfectly fine. And we're going to discover that as we go along. Okay. Let me go back to my notes, quotes, resources, sharing. Sacred Sunday Space is my last resource that I have for you, and I didn't type it out beforehand, so I'm typing it out now. Sacred Sunday Space is my private self-care workshop. And in Sacred Sunday Space, we actually do practice shamatha or mindfulness meditation, the practice that we're going to be going over and talking about this evening. And the purpose of Sacred Sunday Space is to provide you a place where you can come to consistently to practice self-care, to practice personal development, and to engage in these metaphysical techniques and these energetic techniques and these meditative techniques that I teach and talk about here on the Higher Alignment YouTube channel. We all know that a lot of people like to come to workshops and we like to watch YouTube videos and we like to gather those resources and we like to learn. But how many people are actually walking the walk versus talking the talk? So Sacred Sunday Space is my low cost program. It's $15 for a 30-day period. And in that you're guaranteed to get at least 2 sessions. Okay. And so we don't just do mindfulness meditation. We do yin yoga, we do journaling, we do EFT, we do goal setting, we do breath work. I change it up every time, and it's no cameras, come as you are. It's private through Zoom. It is group, but no one sees each other, so you're going to get your own sacred space set up in your home. And then you're going to have your yoga mat, your journal, your crystals, your tea. And then I'm going to guide you through the practice. We're going to have multiple exercises and activities each session. And by the end, you will have engaged in a variety of tools and techniques in order to de-stress and decompress yourself, as well as to perhaps set up some goals for yourself for the next week or the next 2 weeks. So I went ahead and dropped that for you in the comments section. You can go ahead and check that out, and that is through my Patreon. And that is the end of housekeeping. If you are ready to roll, go ahead and drop me a number 8 in the comments section. That's going to let me know that you have your pens, your papers, notebooks, tablets, whatever you need ready, because you already know I'm going to roll through the content this evening. Once again, if you have any questions, just drop those for me, because we do have a lot of things to go through. Whenever I have quotes, I'm going to drop them in the comment section for you, so you're able to read it on your screen as I'm reading it. The way that I really structured this workshop this evening is to really use the quotes. I wanted to provide you quality resources so that you're not just hearing my opinion. I know a lot of people on social media, they give workshops and they give teachings and they give practices, and they're giving their opinion, and people's opinions are valid. Our experiences as teachers and just as beings are valid. But I think that for many practices, especially with something like meditation, it is important that you understand where you're getting your information from, what information you're getting, what is the practice, because meditation is really a catch-all term. It's a very general term, and you may think that you're doing one thing and you're not doing that. You may want to dive deeper, you may want to go further, and you may not know exactly what that is or how to do it if you don't know, what you're learning and where you're learning it from. So I think it's important to have those resources. So rather than just sit up here and give you my opinion all night, I want to lead you through this journey of learning about mindfulness meditation, by providing you those resources and showing you what other teachers have to say. So these are not my practices. These are not my techniques, so I am not claiming that I came up with any of this. So, just to read the energy in the room for the people who are here. What is everyone's experience with meditation? Have you meditated before? Do you know specifically about the practice of mindfulness meditation, or have you heard of the term shamatha? I'm going to just give it just a moment. We're going to see what comes through. I'm taking notes for my timestamps as well while I am waiting for you all to answer. If you'll be so kind enough to grace me with your answer. Do you know about mindfulness meditation? Have you practiced this before? Have you heard of the term shamatha? Well, we're going to continue on until I see some answers coming through, just for the sake of time. So shamatha is a Sanskrit term. I mean, this practice goes by many names. Mindfulness meditation is what you're going to hear it referred to commonly. I call it shamatha just to make sure that the practice and the technique is very precise, so people know exactly what I'm talking about. Because you'll find that a lot of people will give information on meditation. People will say, oh, this, no, it's like this, no, it's like that. But people may be mixing things up. So I like to specifically identify what I'm talking about, so we are all very clear before we get started. Okay, see, I've meditated for several years now, but the more I dive into the subject, the more that I find there's so much to learn. Yes, okay, Eric, hey, thank you for that. Asir said, yes, I meditate 5 times a day. It is my religion. Perfect, Asir. And for both of you, what type of meditation do you practice? Or can you give me a little bit of insight on what you're doing while I continue on and move forward? So shamatha means calm abiding. This is a Sanskrit, two Sanskrit words put together. It means calm abiding, but you may also know this as jine, which is this means the same thing. But it is an intentional training tool. That's what I kind of refer to it as. Some people refer to meditation as a spiritual practice or a religious practice. I do think that, and it is that, but I, for neutral purposes, don't like to present it that way. I like to present it as a tool to train the mind and to train the attention. Once you have trained your mind and trained your attention, you can use it for, a variety of purposes. So whether that be for spiritual purposes, whether that be for religious purposes, whether that be to be more present in the moment and be more present in your relationships. How many times have you had a conversation with someone, or you find that someone's having a conversation with you, but one of you is trailing off? So you're kind of there, but you're kind of not there. You're not really present. You're not really giving your full attention to this person. Or maybe you're working or you're at school and you're studying and you find that you're not able to fully focus. Maybe your mind is easily distracted. This is what we're working on when we talk about mindfulness meditation. Training the mind to a single pointed focus, to be able to place the focus of awareness somewhere or on something, and the mind no longer becomes distracted. Once you have a focused mind, it's more like having a mind that's razor sharp, that's laser focused. It's so sharp it can cut through anything, versus how people kind of use their mind and their attention in popular times. We think about multitasking, where people pride themselves on being able to do more than one thing at one time. And this kind of leads to us being scatterbrained. And we even see this with people who suffer with ADD and ADHD, hopping from one thing to another, but you don't have the ability to stay with one object or one stimulus or one task without being immediately distracted. So this is what mindfulness meditation helps you to do. People commonly refer to this type of meditation as the meditation that where you clear your mind, where no thoughts come up, and that is true. But I advise people not really to think about that in the beginning, because you're going to get yourself really caught up in a trap. So if we think about that, shamatha trains the mind to a single pointed focus. Think about how much work we're going to have to do to be able to train the mind to be able to focus on one thing only. And once you've really accomplished that, once you're focusing, once the mind is able to settle on one thing, you'll think that you'll be able to realize that that means no other things are coming up. Your mind is not being able to be distracted from this one thing. And then the next step is to remove that thing. And then where does that leave us? But that is a long way away from, where we are and where we are going tonight. We're going to be talking about basically entering the practice of mindfulness meditation, and how to be able to navigate this with your eyes open. So typically I've taught this once again with eyes closed and from a different perspective, but I wanted to give an alternative for people who are interested in this. So go ahead and drop me number 8 in the comments section if everything that I'm saying so far makes sense, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're smelling what I'm stepping in. Before we move further, some people may be taking notes. So if you are taking notes, I want to make sure that you're able to write down what you need. So go ahead and do that and drop me number 8. I just want to check the temperature in the room to make sure that we're all following so far. Okay. Eric said, actually, I'm not sure. And this was a response to my question where I said, what type of meditation or what kind of meditation do you practice? Eric said, actually, I'm not sure. That's perfectly okay. Asir said, prayer ritual 5 times a day. As Muslims, we pray with our eyes open. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. 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 Just gauging the energy in the room and seeing where we are, seeing what types of practices that we're engaging in. Because once again, people come to this practice or people come to other practices and they may think that it's one thing and it's not that thing. So, we want to just be clear on what we're talking about here this evening. So as a practice of attentional training, mindfulness meditation, we're trying to achieve attentional balance. So that would be like, okay, balance of what? What exactly are we balancing? So we have 3 characteristics, 3 things that we're balancing, and I want you to go ahead and write these down. Okay, if you're taking notes, I want you to go ahead and write these down. The first one is going to be relaxation. So if you are trying to enter into a meditative state, if you're trying to enter into the state of shamatha, if you're trying to enter into a state of single pointed focus, one of the first things, of course, that we need is relaxation. We need to be able to relax on into it. Okay, so that's one of the first things that we need. We need a body and a mind that is relaxed. The second thing that we're going to need, the second characteristic, we're going to call it, is I want you to label this as vividness. I want you to label this as vividness. And Alan Wallace, this is where I'm getting this information from. Once again, I want to provide you resources so that you can take this information and go further. So these 3 characteristics I learned from his teachings. So vividness, we're going to call this a continuity of awareness. A continuity of awareness. Sorry about that. So we can think about this as presence. I want us to think about this as presence. When we think about when you're present, when you're aware, when you're there. So this is your awareness. You're aware of being aware. But the continuity of this. So think about how many times you're aware of being aware and then all of a sudden you're distracted. Think about how when you're driving from work to home or you're on the bus or on the train or whatever, are you present for the entire time? Were you there for the entire trip, or all of a sudden are you just home? You're aware, but then sometimes there are these gaps. Or sometimes we're not aware at all. Sometimes you're just doing, going, and you're just caught up in the commotion. And there is no awareness. There is no quality of awareness actually there. So this vividness, this is what we're going to be talking about. So the continuity of awareness. And then the third thing, the third characteristic is going to be clarity. So this is going to be the ability to clearly perceive or maintain contact with your object of attention. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So your ability to clearly perceive the object. In mindfulness meditation or in mindfulness meditation, we most often have an object of attention in the beginning. And for those of you who have practiced with me before, this is going to be perhaps the sensations of the breath at the nostrils. When we're practicing the Theravada method, we're going to talk about other methods that have other objects of attention. But it could be a visualization, something that you're looking at. It could be something that you're imagining. But whatever you're settling your awareness onto and you're using that as your anchor, that is going to be your object of attention. So think about sometimes in meditation, if you're practicing the Theravada method or perhaps some method where you're focusing on the breath, how clearly are you perceiving the breath? Sometimes once you have become more advanced and you've practiced these practices longer, you're able to perceive the breath and you're not losing the sensation. You're not losing contact with the breath as much, but perhaps there's a little bit of static. Perhaps there are still thoughts, that are going on, and you may be a little bit inclined to engage with the thought. You still are you haven't fully lost contact with your object of attention, as you did in the beginning when you were practicing meditation, and perhaps you just completely forgot that you were supposed to be focusing on your breath, and now all of a sudden you are thinking about, dinner, to-do list, what you have to do at work, did you lock the door, whatever. So the characteristic of your clarity is going to change over time with your practice. But how closely are you able to maintain contact between awareness and that object? So these are the three things we're trying to balance: relaxation, vividness or the continuity of awareness, and clarity, your ability to clearly perceive whatever it is that you are settling the focus of awareness on. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, go ahead and drop me a number 8 in the comment section. I'm going to continue on. And if it doesn't make sense, go ahead and drop your question. So we're going to start getting into some quotes, and I'm going to put the quotes in the chat for you. Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, it said this is too much text. So our first quote is going to come from Rangjung Dorje. Okay, it's still doing it. Sorry. This is our first quote. It's coming, y'all. It's coming. Let's see. And it's one long sentence. Got it. So we're going to divide it right here so we can get it all in there. I'm going to give you a quote, then we're going to talk about it. So it says, single-pointedness occurs when a contemplative focuses his experience without scattering away from the immaculate, vivid clarity and non-conceptuality of the mind, and remains single-pointedly in the stream of unified shamatha and vipassana. So let me read that again. Single-pointedness, and remember, shamatha is a meditation, or mindfulness meditation is a meditation of single-pointedness. This is what it's doing. It's training the attentional balance to be able to focus on one thing, to be able to come to a sharp focus, a laser focus. That's what we're training our mind to do, to be able to not be distracted, a very strong mind. Single-pointedness occurs when a contemplative focuses his or her or their experience without scattering away. So this, once again, is without being distracted. Being able to settle the focus of your awareness on that thing, and nothing can pull the attention away from it, without scattering away from the immaculate, vivid clarity. And so here we can look at all of these words are important. We can think about the 3 characteristics that we already talked about: relaxation, vividness, and clarity. The immaculate, vivid clarity and non-conceptuality of the mind. When you get where you're going, most people, where they're trying to get to is that place of no thought. So this is not, there are no concepts, a non-conceptual mind, and remain single-pointedly and remain single-pointedly in the stream of unified shamatha and vipassana. And so what we're talking about tonight is shamatha, and then another practice is vipassana. For what we're talking about tonight, you can just think about that as remaining in the stream of shamatha, staying in the zone, getting in there, getting in there and being able to stay in there. That's gonna allow you to achieve single-pointed focus. So most of the meditations, most of the mindfulness meditations, especially if you're, looking at the Buddhist tradition, there are going to be interpretations of instructions given by the Buddha. The Buddha gave certain instructions. He said certain things, and then just like other, religious and spiritual and political and whatever else leaders, people interpret what they say in different ways. So there are different ways that these instructions have been interpreted, and we're going to talk about that this evening. But this is the instructions that were given. And there are different interpretations, and depending on however you interpret it, is going to be, a different practice. So I'm going to put the quote here for you. Oh shoot, it's already telling me it's too much. And let me get it all in there, and then we're going to talk about it. Ooh, we working tonight, y'all. Well, I'm working. Y'all working too, I'm sure. Okay, let me go back to my notes. So I put the quote there in the comment section for you in case you want to notate it down. But this is coming from the Anapanasati Sutta. And the Anapanasati is the text where the practice of the mindfulness of breathing, a lot of people know that this practice comes from that text. They refer to this text for that practice, the meditation for the mindfulness of breathing. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So it says, breathing in long, one knows I breathe in long. Breathing out long, one knows I breathe out long. Breathing in short, one knows I breathe in short. Breathing out short, one knows I breathe out short. One trains thus, I shall breathe in, experiencing the whole body. I shall breathe out, experiencing the whole body. I shall breathe in, calming the composite of the body. I shall breathe out, calming the composite of the body. Thus one trains. So let's break this down a little bit more. And there are different interpretations of this, and I'm pretty sure, it goes a lot deeper than what I'm going to just comment on today, but we're just trying to break us into the practice. But what this is really referring to is this almost non-conceptual awareness. So when the Buddha is saying breathing in long, one knows I breathe in long. In a non-conceptual way, he's saying, not I'm telling myself, oh my gosh, I'm breathing in right now. It's just an awareness that there's breathing happening. When you're in the meditative zone and you're using the breath as your anchor, we're slowly trying to inch our way from conceptual thoughts to non-conceptuality. We're slowly trying to inch our way there. So there's not dialogue going on in the mind saying, oh, I'm inhaling, oh, I'm exhaling, oh, that was a long breath, oh, that was a long inhale or a long. It's not that. It's just a very primordial, very, very almost base awareness of there is breathing going on. And this is where this is where we're settling the focus of awareness. If we continue on, it says, one trains thus, I shall breathe in, experiencing the whole body. This is another part of the interpretation that gives different techniques their different nuances, how different cultures and different societies and different people have interpreted experiencing the whole body of the breath in some techniques. And so I guess we can go ahead and introduce them now. And so let's think about, I'm gonna put 4 techniques in the notes in the comment section for us. I'm gonna put 4 little, okay, it does not like me to copy and paste. It's like running everything together. So I'm gonna do this one, Asanga's method. 2, let me see, how did I? Burmese method. 3, Theravada method. 4, Dzogchen method. Okay, so these are our 4 methods, and we're going to talk about the different objects of attention. So I'll just read from my notes really quickly, just to make sure I'm on track, and then I'll ask if anyone has any questions. So various methods that we will discuss will involve the object of attention, and we're going to go from gross to more subtle. So that's the way that I have ordered these methods and these practices and these interpretations, so you can see, you know, how we're getting more subtle in the mind. You can see the progression, you can see the stages, you can see how we're moving from step to step, hopefully. When you are actually spending time practicing one method than the next, you are training your mind to be able to focus on increasingly more subtle objects, to become sharper, to become more focused, to become more aware and less able to be distracted. The Dzogchen method will be the most subtle of the methods that we will discuss this evening. It is important to understand the building, to follow closely, and to clearly see the evolution of the mind as it trains from object to object in order to understand what's going on in the Dzogchen method if you haven't actually experienced it. So let me know if that makes sense. Drop me a number 8 if that makes sense. Just my little brief explanation, my little warning before we, you know, continue on and move forward. Because I'm trying to bridge the gap for a lot of information already. And when we talk about eyes open meditation, you know, I want to make sure that when we get there, we understand what's going on. So if you've never experienced or never practiced these different types of meditations, it's understandable that you hit you one more time, I got you. If you've never practiced these different types of meditation, it would only be, you know, understandable that you don't have that personal experience. That's what I'm saying. You don't have that personal experience, but in your mind, as we talk about these different practices, I want you to approximate to the best of your abilities. Because because you all asked about how to do this, you know, but it's not an exact beginner's practice. So what I'm teaching you is to go from step A to step B to step C to step D. But many of you have not practiced A through C. Maybe you've never even practiced A. So you want to know about D, but you've never practiced A. So that's what I'm saying. So Eric said, hit him with it one more time. I'm going to hit you with my what I wrote out one more time. And I'm going to go slowly. And if you don't understand, stop me along the way. Various methods, and we have 4 of them. Various methods that we will discuss will involve the object of attention. We just talked about the object of attention. Your object of attention is literally what you're settling your mind on. If you've practiced mindfulness meditation, mindfulness of breathing, when you're focusing on the sensations of your breath at the nostrils, the object of attention is the sensations of the breath at the nostrils. This is where we're settling the focus of awareness. Some people practice something different. It doesn't matter. If you practice, you know, maybe you practice mantra Maybe you practice mantra as a form of shamatha or a form of mindfulness meditation. That sound, you're resting your awareness on the sound, and anytime a thought, a memory, an emotion comes into the space of the mind, you're supposed to realize, oh, I'm not focusing on my sound. I've been distracted by that thought. That sound is your object of attention. So each of the different methods that we're going to be talking about has a different object of attention, and they're going to go from gross to more subtle. When you're actually, so this is me reading from what I've written again. When you, the people who, Eric, I saw Sandra come on in here. I saw TMS on here, Asir, whoever is watching this. When you are spending time practicing one method, we're going to talk about 4 once again. You probably actually do want to spend time practicing each method so you can build up your mind to be able to be stable and stand, whatever method you want to stick with. When you actually are spending time practicing one method, then the next, you are training your mind to be able to focus on increasingly more subtle objects. You're training your mind to become sharper, to be more focused, to be more aware, and less able to be distracted. The Dzogchen method. Okay, and I wrote that in the comment section. It has a D at the beginning. The Dzogchen method will be the most subtle method that we are going to discuss this evening. It is important to understand the building, to understand the sequence of those 4 methods: Asanga's method, the Burmese method, the Theravada method, which is what I typically encourage you all to practice, and the Dzogchen method. So it's important to understand, to follow closely, and to clearly see the evolution of the mind as it trains from object to object in order to understand the Dzogchen method if you've never practiced it before. So we're going to continue on. Let's talk about briefly the different methods and the different objects of attention. If you're following me still so far, go ahead and drop me number 8 in the comments section. Let me know that you are right there. If you cannot drop me a number 8, go ahead and drop me a question so that I can answer it. TMS, yes, I can. And I put them in the comments section. I'm going to go ahead and copy them again so you have them down. Here they are. I just put them in the comments. The first one is the Asanga's method. The second one is the Burmese method. The third one we'll talk about is the Theravada method, and the meditation that I put at the top of the chat in the resources section, that is the Theravada method. It is the one that I do advise that you practice, and you can mix that Theravada method with what we're talking about this evening. And then the Dzogchen method. In the Dzogchen method, between Theravada and Dzogchen, that's where we're going to be kind of landing this evening, okay? So once again, let's go back up to our quote from the Buddha. It says, I shall breathe in experiencing the whole body. I shall breathe out experiencing the whole body. I shall breathe in calming the composite of the body. I shall breathe out calming the composite of the body. Thus one trains. So once again, there are different interpretations of this, basically the whole body, the composite of the body. Like, what does that mean? So in Asanga's method, number 1, Asanga's method, this interpretation of the whole body, or breathing the whole body, or the breath, the body breathes the breath, however you want to, I'm flipping the words around, but the interpretation of this passage from Asanga's method, it means literally the whole body. So when you're practicing mindfulness of breathing, you're practicing mindfulness meditation using a breathing technique. The breathing technique, there are multiple types. You're practicing Asanga's method. Your object of attention is the sensations of the breath throughout the entire body, throughout the entire somatic field. So when you drop into your meditation, you calm yourself down. And when you finally settle your focus, what you're doing is, wherever you feel tingling sensations, movement of the breath, movement of the energy, anything in your body, that's where you're resting. So sometimes people feel tingling, you know, in their hands or their feet. Maybe you feel a warmth sensation in your chest because that's where your lungs are. That's where you're settling the focus of awareness. And anytime you have a thought, a memory, an emotion, a sensation, something that's not that object of attention that comes into the space of the mind and begins to distract you, in the beginning, all you're going to do is realize, hey, I'm now focusing on this thought. I'm now engaging with this thought, and my mind is not settled on my object of attention. So you release the thought and resettle the focus of awareness back on your object of attention, which in the Sanghas method is the sensations of the breath throughout the entire body. The body breathes the breath, the whole body. That's the interpretation. If this makes sense, go ahead and drop me number 8. If it doesn't make sense, drop me a question. If this makes sense, go ahead and drop me number 8. If it doesn't make sense, go ahead and drop me a question. Just give it in a moment so I can see what is coming through. Okay, I'm seeing some 8s. Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward. We're gonna go to our next one, the Burmese method. So you can think like your whole body. If you're like feeling your whole body, that's very gross. That's very physical. Okay, and it's a big field. It's a lot. The next method, remember we're going from gross to more subtle. The next method, the Burmese method, your object of attention. So when in the Burmese method, when they're interpreting that original quote and they're talking about the body of the breath, they say, okay, well, what does that mean? The body of the breath, or the whole body, or the composite of the body? Well, for them, you know, I would, based on the technique, I would assume they're like, okay, well, what part of the body is breathing? Well, the stomach. So for the Burmese method, the object of attention is the rising and the falling of the stomach. It's not the sensations of the breath throughout the entire somatic field. It's not the sensations of the breath throughout the entire body. It is you're focusing simply on your stomach area and the rising and the falling of the stomach. This is going to be your object of attention. So it's a much smaller area. So now we have a smaller area to focus on, a smaller area to attend to. So you can even think if this tool is supposed to train our attention or sharpen our focus, now we have a smaller area to focus on. So we have to be a little bit more targeted. We have to be a little bit more sharp. We have to be a little bit more there. We have to be a little bit more present because we have less to work with, you know, so we're getting more concentrated. So the Burmese method, and many people who go to Vipassana retreats, the type of Vipassana that they're going to is for the Burmese. They practice the Burmese method. MRX TV, hello MRX, welcome, welcome, welcome. Go ahead and grab your pen, paper, notebook, tablet, whatever you need to take notes. We've already dived very much deep into it, but you're right on time. You are right on time. Yes, diaphragmatic breathing. So that's going to be the Burmese method. Diaphragmatic breathing or vase breathing. You know, these practices, they have many names. But when you are focusing on the sensations of the breath at the stomach, the rising and falling of the stomach, that is the Burmese method. That is the object of attention in that method. If that makes sense, go ahead and drop me number 8 in the comment section and we're going to move forward. If that does not make sense, go ahead and drop me your question and I will provide some clarity. So we talked about the Asanga's method. We talked about Burmese method. Let me know if that is clear so far, the progression that we've made so far. If that makes sense, drop me a number 8. If not, drop me a question. I'm just watching to see if I see some 8s or questions come through. If I don't see nothing come through, we're going to continue on to move this thing forward. Okay, I'm seeing the 8s now. Thank you. Just making sure. It's a lot of information and it gets very detailed. I'm trying to build it up little by little because we haven't even gotten to the open eyes part, you know, and I'm just trying to make sure you got it. Theravada method. Once again, we talked about this before. I hinted at it already. And if you've been here, you're not new to this, you're true to this. You've been here on Higher Alignment before with me during meditation workshops. I love this practice, and it's the one that I do advise that you actually engage in. The Theravada method. The Theravada method of mindfulness of breathing. Your object of attention is the sensations of the breath at the nostrils, at the apertures of the nostrils, or above the upper lip, wherever you feel the sensation the most. And this is because different people's faces and bodies are built different. Different people have different noses. Then the breath hits different on people's faces, you know. So wherever you feel it the most. Once again, now we have a smaller area that we're focusing on. We went from Asanga's method, where the object of attention was the entire somatic field, to the Burmese method, where the object of attention is now the rising and falling of the stomach. And then we have the Theravada method, an even smaller area, a smaller area of attention, the apertures of the nostrils. I mean, it's very small, or above the upper lip. And so what this is doing, once again, is it's sharpening the focus of the mind. It is now, think about like, you're so welcome, TMS, no welcome. You're welcome, no problem. You know, so think about this now, everything is becoming smaller, it's becoming more subtle. So it's like you have to be really strong, you have to be really focused to be able to focus right here on these sensations, and then also not get distracted by your thoughts and am I doing it right, and what's going on, and oh my gosh, what am I going to eat for dinner? Did I lock my door? I wonder if I did everything. Oh my gosh, my boss said something to me at work earlier today. I'm supposed to be meditating. What was I supposed to be doing? What were the exact instructions? I wonder if I'm doing this right. What is going on? Oh my goodness, am I even doing this? How long have I been? You know, like that's what happens when you get distracted when you are meditating. And so we're trying to combat that. So think about, you have to be really focused to be able to hold your attention here on these sensations non-conceptually. You're not like thinking inhale, exhale, or breathe in and breathe out. It's not that. You're focusing on the sensations of the breath, not inner chatter and mental dialogue. It's very primordial. That's the word that they use in this tradition. I think it's a very accurate word. Very primordial, very non-conceptual, no words, no chitter chatter, just the sensations themselves. Okay, so if that makes sense, if the Theravada method, at least for the, we're breezing through it and I'm not really even explaining anything else but the object of attention. If the object of attention for the Theravada method makes sense, go ahead and drop me a number 8. If you're following the progression from Asanga's method to the Burmese method to the Theravada method so far and it all makes sense, go ahead and drop me a number 8 in the comment section. If it doesn't make sense, if I lost you along the way, if you came in late and you're lost, go ahead and drop me your question in the comment section and I will give some clarity. Yes, being in the moment. And so that is one of our 3 characteristics that we went over earlier, and we're gonna call that one number 2, vividness, cultivating a greater and greater sense of composure and the continuity of awareness. This sense of continuity of awareness, this is going to be one of the 3 characteristics for attentional balance that we need. So once again, just to review, if you came in late, the first one is relaxation. So we're trying to achieve attentional balance between these 3 things when we're going through these practices. The first one is relaxation. The second one is vividness, and we can think of vividness as the continuity of awareness. So being present and not forgetting that you're being present, if that makes sense. And then clarity, the ability to perceive or maintain contact with your object of attention. If that doesn't make sense, let me know. I just went back up through my notes really quickly just to re-emphasize those 3 characteristics. So once again, I want everyone to know exactly what we're talking about, the exact practices that we're talking about, because meditation is a very wide and varied subject. And when we're talking about mindfulness meditation, we're talking about shamatha. We're not talking about some other practice. We're not talking about some other type of meditation. We're talking about this specific practice, okay? So the last one we're going to talk about is Dzogchen, okay? And it's the word that begins with the D. I'm going to go ahead and put that back in the comment section for you. Dzogchen. So we're going to talk about the Dzogchen method. So you may have heard of Dzogchen or Mahamudra. I'll put that in there for you as well. I like to put these because I know when I listen to people talk and they say these terms, I'm like, I wish you would have written it for me so I can write it down and Google it or find a book or more information. And really quickly, if you are here live and you know someone who would enjoy learning about mindfulness meditation, be sure to go ahead and share this video with a friend, family member, or loved one. And if you are here live with me on YouTube, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. That's going to help me out at no cost to you. So go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the content and the information here that I'm presenting thus far. But in Mahamudra and Dzogchen, the entire point of these traditions, the entire point of these practices is to realize what they call Rigpa. And let me write this word for you down there as well. Rigpa. Rigpa means pristine awareness. It is the base, it is ultimate reality. It is beyond what we could possibly experience here in a human mind, but it is what the goal of all of their meditative practices in these traditions, Mahamudra and Dzogchen, are. The point is to realize Rigpa. So here we actually shift, there's a shift in the object of attention here. Now the object of attention is becoming increasingly more subtle, and it's actually awareness itself in the Dzogchen method. So what I want you to do is, if you are here, which you would have to be here to be, you know, listening to this, what I want you to do is just think about in your mind right now, am I aware that I'm aware? Am I aware? If you are aware that you are aware right now, go ahead and drop a number 8 in the comment section. Drop me another 8 in the comment section. If when I'm saying that, am I aware that I'm aware, or I am aware that I am aware, if that makes absolutely no sense to you, drop me a number 9 in the comment section. If I am aware that I am aware makes sense to you, go ahead and drop me a number 8. If this does not make sense to you, if you cannot experience this, if you cannot understand this right now, drop me a number 9. So let me see some 8s or let me see some 9s. We're inching our way closer. We're inching our way closer. Let me go ahead, come back to the comment section. Okay, I'm seeing those 8s. So what I want you to do is hold on to this right now. Hold on to this non-conceptually. Don't be thinking to yourself, I'm aware that I'm aware, or aware. No words. Try to use as least words, as least visualization possible. Because in the Dzogchen method and Mahamudra method, this is the point, non-conceptuality. And I'm trying to get you an approximation of this, you know, for where you personally are. So just hold on to this experience right now of being aware that you're aware. Being aware that you're aware. When you settle your mind here on this in the Dzogchen method is the object of attention. It's very subtle. It's very different than the physical body, focusing on the physical body. We're not focusing on anything physical. It's almost something in the mental domain. Awareness of awareness. Awareness of being aware at a really primordial level, at a non-conceptual level, not talking about being aware of being aware, but the actual integrative experience and the actual integration itself. Being in that. That is the point of Dzogchen and Mahamudra. So I'm gonna start going a little bit deeper in. We're already 60 minutes in. You know, I normally go for about 60 minutes, but I figured that it would take me a little bit longer. So I'm gonna keep going until we're tired. And if we have to do a part two, then we can do a part two. But I think I'm actually almost at the end. So we're gonna keep going, maybe 30 more minutes. So I'm going to read, it's not exactly a quote, but it's what I wrote. All of these traditions are oral traditions. So, you know, we have texts and we have books. I presented them at the beginning. And these are like commentaries and things that people have written, but most of the actual instruction is like oral instruction. And you think of it, and you can think about that, or you can, you know, conceptualize that when you think about a lot of these indigenous traditions, not just Asian indigenous traditions, but even like a lot of African indigenous traditions, you'll find that they're oral. The information isn't written down. They pass it from person to person, and that's why you have the relationship between guru and student, because you develop a personal relationship with this individual, and they're giving you the information that way. So it's not written down, it's passed along that way. So I had to catch the words and write them down. So I'm going to read what I have written in my notes, and then I'm going to pull from the book as well to get us where we're going. The primary focus of awareness is the culmination of having actually I should give this to you as well. So this is what I'm going to read. You know how it is. It's going to make me do it in bits and pieces. Let me put this in here for you. And it's a lot. But once again, I want to give you what you need. I hope that you all are enjoying this and you are getting what you need, and this does make sense. I saw a comment. Sorry, I am gonna read it. I'm just trying to get all of the quote into the chat, so when I'm reading, you all can follow along easier. Okay, I love the concept of Dzogchen method. It promotes a deep introspection. Introspection is one of the qualities that you need for mindfulness meditation. So I actually didn't bring that up, but we talked about the 3 characteristics earlier: relaxation, vividness, and clarity. The other thing that's very much emphasized is this characteristic of introspection. And why is that? So introspection, let's think about this word: intro, enter, interior, self, spect, like spectacle or spectator, to look at. So the process of introspection comes in because when you're practicing meditation, you have to be able to reflect on yourself in the moment to be able to see, am I maintaining contact with the object of attention, or am I being distracted? What's actually going on right now? So when you find, oh yeah, I'm actually thinking about my dinner, and the focus of awareness is not settled on the sensations of the breath at the nostrils or settled in awareness itself. Oh yeah, that quality of introspection, that's that, oh yeah, that allows you to redirect. So all of the methods, it's not going to be possible to do this without introspection. All of the methods, you're definitely it's indispensable. You're absolutely going to need it. The difference between the other methods and the Dzogchen method is that the Dzogchen method is bordering on what they call shamatha without a sign. The other ones they have more concrete, if you want to call it. That's not really concrete, but they have what they call a sign or an anchor or your training wheels that you're using to hold your awareness while you gain some control over your mind and what's going on and learn the method. And it could take you years. I still practice shamatha with the sign, so it's perfectly okay. And then sometimes I practice shamatha without a sign. But right now, probably everyone who's looking at this probably should be practicing the Theravada method, or the method that we're bridging into now. But let me go ahead and go to my quote. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, experiences, stop me along the way. The primary focus of awareness is the culmination of having settled body, speech, and mind. So awareness is resting where it is, self-knowing, self-illuminating. And that's what we kind of just talked about, being aware of being aware. Awareness is resting right where it is, self-knowing, being aware of being aware, self-illuminating, being aware of being aware. Clearly, explicitly aware of being aware. So we're kind of saying the same thing over and over. I'm going to repeat again. The primary focus of awareness in the Dzogchen method, we're talking about this method, in the Dzogchen method, the primary focus of awareness is the culmination of having settled body, speech, and mind. So you have settled your body. You're relaxed. Ooh, we talked about that first characteristic, relaxation. Ooh, we need that. We have vividness, that continuity of awareness, that continuity of attention. And then we have clarity, being able to maintain clear contact with that object of attention. So we have all three of these. We have this culmination. And we are clearly, explicitly aware of being aware. So the main focus in this method is focusing on being aware of being aware. This is 80% of what you're doing, just resting there, resting in awareness. This is your primary investment, but peripherally, as if out of the corner of your eye, you're simply noting the rhythm of the respiration. Not specifically attending to tactile sensations in the body, like Asanga's method, not the abdomen, like the Burmese method, not the nostrils, like the Theravada method. Never mind attending to, you're just resting where you are. The rhythm of the breath will rise up to meet you. So you don't have to specifically focus on the breath at all. When you're resting, aware of being aware in this method, that's where you're like primarily focused. And then you'll know what, when you're practicing this, it can kind of feel like you're just floating in outer space. And a lot of people think that when no thoughts come up in meditation, that that is the place to be. But remember, we're trying to achieve attentional balance. So if you're spacing out, that's not where you're supposed to be. Because remember, the whole point of mindfulness meditation is maintaining contact with that object of attention. So even when you're spaced out, you may be spaced out and no thoughts are coming up, but you are also not maintaining contact with your object of attention. So you can't be meditating. The same thing is happening when you have a lot of thoughts. There's a lot of thoughts, there's a lot of commotion, there's a lot of inner chatter. We call this excitation. And once again, all that inner chatter, thoughts, commotion, excitation is going on, and what that's doing is it's not allowing you to maintain contact with that object of attention. So at that point, you're no longer meditating. So in either of these extremes, we're not meditating. We're trying to have attentional balance. So we're not trying to space out. That's not what we're trying to do. So we're mostly focusing on being aware of being aware. And then out of the peripheral of our awareness, we'll call it, we're allowing the rhythm of the breath to just be there. And we're using that as our anchor. So instead of just floating in space, we're kind of just using this as just the little tiniest little itty bitty thing that we can hold on to, so we're not just gone, and you don't know how to stabilize and be stable in that state. So your way of stabilizing yourself, the way of anchoring yourself, is to use the bare minimum possible, and or just allowing the rhythm of the breath. You've released the breath. You're not controlling the breath. The body's breathing on its own. You're mainly focusing on aware of being aware. And then you are just simply noting that there's breathing going on. So even if we go back to that original quote, breathing in long, one knows I breathe in long. Breathing out long, one knows I breathe out long. Breathing in short, one knows I breathe in short. Breathing out short, one knows I breathe out short. That's basically what we're talking about, right? It's non-conceptual. We're not saying we're conceptualizing it like, oh, I'm breathing in, inhale, exhale, or hold my breath, or 3 counts in and 3 count. We're not doing all that. It's just there's a basic awareness of breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. If it's a long breath, it's a long breath. If it's a short breath, it's a short breath. I'm not controlling anything. I'm not manipulating anything. My main focus is on focusing on aware of being aware. And then as the breath is there, it's just there. I'm just there, and I'm kind of noting it. If that makes sense, go ahead and drop me number 8 in the comment section. If that does not make sense, drop me your question. I hope I explained it as clearly as I could. Drop me an 8 if that makes sense. Drop me a number 9 if it does not make sense. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. And 8 and 8 and 8. Got it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read from the Attention Revolution. Y'all, we've been in here for a while. Thanks for sticking in there. We're getting close to it, though. I know it was on page 86. So we're getting to meditating with your eyes open. So most of the time people meditate with their eyes closed. In the Dzogchen method, in most Dzogchen meditations, you're directed to meditate with your eyes open. So this is what I'm going to be reading from. I'm going to be reading from some instruction from Alan Wallace in his book. So he's actually quoting Lirab Lingpa with a P. Let your gaze be vacant. In this practice, and he's talking about this settling mind in its natural state, the practice of settling mind in its natural state, Dzogchen. In this practice, it is important that your eyes are open, vacantly resting your gaze in the space in front of you. If you have not meditated with your eyes open, you may find this uncomfortable, but I encourage you to get used to it. Blink as often as you like, but don't strain your eyes in any way. Let them be as relaxed as if you were daydreaming with your eyes open. By leaving the eyes open while focusing your attention on the mental domain of events, the artificial barrier between inner and outer begins to dissolve. And so let's talk about this, just one sentence really quickly. By leaving the eyes open while focusing your attention on the domain of mental events. And when I talked about this on Instagram, this is one thing that a lot of people were talking about and getting caught up on. Because remember, we're trying to achieve attentional balance. No problem, anytime. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. And the sources are important. So a lot of people get caught up in what we're going to call the phenomena. Anything you can see, hear, taste, touch, smell, think about when they're meditating. And if you've been following along so far, if you've been picking up what I'm putting down, if you've been smelling what I'm stepping in, clearly you can see the point is to not do that. Why? Because we're trying to achieve a state of single pointed focus. We're trying to achieve attentional balance. We're not trying to focus on all of these other things that are coming up, no matter what they are. We're trying to focus on our object of attention. So what I find is what I saw in the comments on Instagram, and even when I talk to people, they'll say, "Oh, well, I'm seeing blurs and I'm seeing blobs and the colors are fading in, the colors are fading out, and I'm seeing little, whatever. I'm seeing leprechauns run around." Like, I'm not sure. And people get very excited or caught up in whatever they're seeing. And perhaps they may take this as a sign of progress. It could be a sign of progress. But regardless, if you engage with it or you become distracted by it or you are really giving it that much thought, then now you are no longer meditating. So it's not about at all what you're seeing. It's not at all about whether you're seeing blobs or blurs or whether it's going black and white, or it's not about that at all. It's not about, I'm having some type of visual experience. I'm having some type of experience. Once you start going in that direction, you are going in the wrong direction. Because now you're beginning to be distracted. And once again, we come back to the entire point is to come to a place of single pointed focus. And clearly, if we're engaging in all of these thoughts and we're becoming distracted in the things that we're seeing or not seeing, or am I seeing that? Like now we're making so many more thoughts, and this is just getting away from what we're supposed to be doing. We're doing the opposite. Now we're contemplating. Now we're obsessing. Now we're ruminating. And the one thing that we're not doing is meditating. Because why? In mindfulness meditation, meditating, mindfulness means bearing something in mind without being distracted. What are we bearing in mind? Our object of attention. So the moment we disengage from that object of attention, you're no longer meditating. I mean, it's just that simple. So here, even Alan Wallace puts it, like that. By leaving the eyes open, while focusing your attention on the domain of mental events. So yes, your eyes are open, but you're not seeing anything. There's no seeing. I mean, there may be things to see. Yes, there are things to see. There are things that may appear, but you're not supposed to be focusing on any of that at all. And it says, it is important that your eyes are open, vacantly resting your gaze in space in front of you. You're not focusing your eyes on any, they're unfocused, as if daydreaming. You're not supposed to be seeing or looking for anything. So continuing on, in our materialistic society, we have gotten used to the idea that our thoughts and all other mental events are inside our heads. But this has never been demonstrated scientifically. All that is known in this regard is that mental events are correlated with neural events. But that does not necessarily mean that they are located in the same space. Even without this materialist assumption that the mind is nothing more than a function of the brain, we naturally have a sense that we are looking out on the world from behind our eyes. But this sense of an independent subject or ego inside the head is an illusion. There's no scientific support for such a belief, and when it is inspected through rigorous contemplative inquiry, this autonomous thinker and observer inside the head is nowhere to be found. In this practice, by leaving your eyes open but directing your attention to the mind, you're not directing your attention to external phenomena, things to be seen. That's not where the attention is going. The eyes are open, but the attention is not there. In this practice, by leaving your eyes open but directing your attention to the mind, this conceptually superimposed demarcation between inner and outer thoughts begins to erode. So what this means is, typically when people close their eyes in meditation, you have a thought that comes up, and because your eyes are closed, it makes it seem like it's more real than what it is, because your eyes are closed and you're focusing on the mental domain. So if you leave your eyes open and you focus on the mental domain, then now this barrier between inner and outer worlds, between the internal and external, has been broken down. And then you're more easily able to see, oh, it's just a thought. Even if it is a thought about something that, my mama cussed me out about, or something that my parents did to me when I was little, or a traumatic experience, now we're able to disconnect from it just a little bit more, and we don't get sucked into it because we are not meditating with our eyes closed. And even the same thing, something that we see flutter past our vision, in a way, if the attention is focused on the mental domain, then we shouldn't get sucked into that. We shouldn't get sucked into that. You begin to recognize that your thoughts are not occurring here in your head, nor are they occurring out there in space. This practice challenges the existence of an absolute objective space of the physical senses that is absolutely separate from a subjective space of the mind. You are now on a path to realizing the meaning of non-duality. So, one more quote for us, and then we're going to head out. But before this, are we okay with where we are so far? Is everything that I'm saying making sense? Have we picked up what I'm putting down? Are we still smelling what I'm stepping in? Drop me a number 8 in the comment section. If so, if I have lost you anywhere along the way, please go ahead and let me know. Drop that in the comment section so I may gift you some clarity. So go ahead and drop me a number 8 or drop me a question. Let me see some 8s or let me see some questions. And we're almost at the end, y'all. I'm just waiting for a few moments. If not, I'm gonna keep it rolling. We're gonna go on through and we're gonna finish this thing going up. Okay, I'm gonna keep it rolling. I know there's a lag. So the last quote that I have for us is from Padmasambhava's Natural Liberation, Padmasambhava's teachings on the 6 bardos revealed by Karma Lingpa. So I'm gonna put this name of the text here for you in the comments. And let me put our quote for us. Of course, it wasn't going to let me copy the whole thing. Let's do these 2. No, you don't want to. Let me copy that one either. One sentence. These sentences are long. Okay, let's do that one. Okay, so here it is in the comment section. I'm gonna read it. So Padmasambhava's teachings on the 6 bardos. So this quote: while steadily gazing into the space in front of you without meditating on anything, steadily concentrate your consciousness without wavering in the space in front of you. Increase the stillness, then relax again. Occasionally seek out what is that consciousness that is concentrating. Steadily concentrate again, then check it out again. Do this in an alternating fashion. Even if there are problems of laxity and lethargy, that will dispel them, and all your activities rely upon unwavering mindfulness. Do that for one day. We're gonna focus on the beginning part of this. So remember, we're talking about mindfulness meditation. We're talking about the Dzogchen method. We're talking about also settling the mind in its natural state, these practices. And, the topic of today was really, how to practice mindfulness meditation, how to get things going, and really how to meditate with your eyes open, or, some tips for that. So this one, Padmasambhava is giving You know, these exact instructions we can just take from the beginning of this. While steadily gazing into space in front of you without meditating on anything. So here he's referring to those previous objects of attention. When we're engaging in shamatha with a sign, we're engaging in Asanga's method, we're engaging in the Burmese method, we're engaging in the Theravada method. Even when we're engaging in the Dzogchen method of mindfulness of breathing, there is an object of attention that you're focusing on, that you are meditating on. So here he's saying, don't meditate on anything. So he's not saying meditate on the sensations of the breath throughout the body, meditate on the rising and the falling of the abdomen that corresponds with the inhale and the exhalation. He's not saying meditate on the sensations of the breath at the apertures of the nostrils or above the upper lip. He says don't meditate on anything at all. So what does this mean? Steadily concentrate your consciousness without wavering in the space in front of you. We talked about that. Awareness of awareness. Remember before? Let's go to our other quote. The quote that I was talking about, I kind of was paraphrasing Alan Wallace. The primary focus of awareness, he's talking about the Dzogchen method. The primary focus of awareness is the culmination of having settled body, speech, and mind. Awareness resting right where it is. Self-knowing, self-illuminating. Awareness resting right where it is, self-knowing, self-illuminating. Awareness of being aware. This is the same thing Padmasambhava is saying. Without meditating on anything, steadily concentrate your consciousness without wavering in the space in front of you. In the stillness, then relax again. Increase the stillness and then relax again. So let's just stop right there. That's all we really need. For what we're talking about this evening, just if you're practicing mindfulness of breathing, and I'm going to put the meditation there for you in case you want to try this out. I have a guided meditation here. This is the Theravada method of mindfulness of breathing, but you can open your eyes in the beginning of this meditation. So if you decide you want to try it out, it's going to guide you through settling body, settling speech, settling mind in their natural state, and you'll hear me say that. And then after that, you can just go ahead and open your eyes, have your eyes a little bit hooded, as we've already explored, allow a bit of light to come through, but understand that your gaze is unfocused. You're not looking at anything. You're not looking for anything. You're not even if you see, if you're practicing outside and you saw a butterfly come across your vision, you're not supposed to be like, ooh, a butterfly. Like, no. So you can have your eyes hooded or have them open, have some light coming in, and you're, as Padmasambhava explains, steadily gazing into the space in front of you without meditating on anything. It was in this book. I'm like, where was it? Alan Wallace says, well, he's quoting Lerab Lingpa. Lerab Lingpa says, let your gaze be vacant. He said, let your gaze be vacant. He didn't say, open your eyes and focus on the butterfly. That's not what he said. Alan says, in this practice, it is important that your eyes are open, vacantly resting your gaze in the space in front of you. You're not supposed to be looking at anything. It just so happens that your eyes are open. It's like the TV's on, but nobody's there watching it. It's just the TV happens to be on. So let them be as relaxed as if you were daydreaming with your eyes open. So this is what we're doing. The eyes are open, they're hooded, they're not focused. And your primary focus, where you're primarily looking, where you're settling the focus of your awareness, if you're doing this, is likely going to be, yes, eyes open, gazing at a blank space. Let's say eyes open, just not gazing at anything. Because kind of, just being more precise, if you're saying gazing at a blank space, it kind of insinuates that still there's something that you're looking at. And we're not supposed to be looking at anything. So just the eyes are open, yes, but there's no gazing, there's no looking, there's no seeing that's happening. You know, we're not looking for anything, even looking for nothing. We're not doing that. Just the eyes are open and they're unfocused. They're open and they're unfocused. My phone is flashing 20%. Let me know if you can hear me and see me still. So our eyes are open. You know, so it's just your eyes are open, but they're unfocused. Okay, got it. Perfect, perfect. And that's what you're going to do. So your primary, the primary object of attention, if we want to call it that, is going to be resting awareness and awareness. And then on the peripheral, you're going to be noting just the sensations of the breath as most non-conceptually as possible, and that's what you're going to be using as your anchor. If you are practicing mindfulness of breathing, you know, we'll call this the Dzogchen method, or we could also call it like an intro to settling mind in its natural state. And once again, in the beginning of this workshop, I put a number of resources for you, text, guided practices. If you are interested in diving deeper into this practice, if you are interested in perhaps practicing with me, don't forget I have Sacred Sunday Space. This is my private workshop that I host twice a month through Zoom. We engage in shamatha or mindfulness meditation. It is low cost. It's $15 for the month. And your support, I'm putting my link here, your support would be very much appreciated. So if you have enjoyed this workshop, if you have enjoyed this content, if you have enjoyed the information that I presented tonight, and you really don't want to just talk the talk, but you want to walk the walk, please check out Sacred Sunday Space. Our next session is actually going to be this Sunday coming up. We're working from the book, The Power. Actually, I have it right here. We're working from the book, The Power, for the next few months. And for the next 2 people who do join the Dark Art series in that option, I'll send you a copy of The Power for free. So you don't even have to purchase the text. But both of those are my private group self-care practices where we focus on self-care, personal development, and metaphysical practices, just like shamatha, just like mindfulness meditation. And instead of me teaching how I'm teaching tonight, we actually just engage in the practice. So we meet on Sunday at noon Eastern, and it's normally about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. You're gonna grab your yoga mat. We'll do some yin yoga. We normally do like journaling, maybe breath work, some self-exploration. I try to change it up every time, and I try to have a theme and different topics and different techniques that we engage in, but it allows you to have a space and a place to consistently come to actually engage in these practices, so you don't forget about it, so you don't, you know, just not do it. It's twice a month. It's low cost, so it's flexible. It's not like, you know, you're doing this 3 times a week and you're trying to hurry up and make sure that you reorganize your schedule so that you can, you know, fit this in. It's very easy, very flexible, and it's, you know, it's very relaxing. So go ahead and check that out, especially once again, if you have enjoyed the content and the information that I've presented this evening, and you would like to support me and what I do here on Higher Alignment. So I have those there for you. Does anybody have any questions about the information or the content or Sacred Sunday Space or anything that we have gone over this evening? If you do, now is that time. Go ahead and drop your questions in the comment section. I'm going to give it a moment because I know there is a lag. So I want to make sure that you get what you came for. So if you do have questions, go ahead and drop those for me. I'm going to give it a few moments and see if anybody has anything that is going to come up that I can answer for you. How long do you do it for? So typically a mindfulness meditation session is going to be 1 bhakti. This is going to be about 24 to 26 minutes. So the mindfulness meditation practice that I did post In the comment section, Mindfulness of Breathing via the Theravada method, guided meditation, that is one bhakti. So you can use that one. You can use that exact guided practice twice a day, and that will get you where you need to go. So in the morning, perhaps like a meditation session in the morning and a meditation session in the evening. You are so welcome, Eric. You are so welcome. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm looking down so I can watch my comment section. On my screen up here, they kind of come up and then disappear really quickly, so I can't read it that fast. Just give it another few moments to see if anything comes up. If not, we're going to sign it off here. You can follow me on Instagram at Higher Alignment, the same name. If you do have questions, you can send me those questions there. I am going to post this replay on my Instagram, on my Facebook. So once again, you can support me by checking out Sacred Sunday Space or the Dark Arts series. And if you can't do that, then please go ahead and share this video, share this workshop with a friend, family member, loved one, share it with your audience, share it on your timeline, to your email list, share it to a friend, whoever. I would appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and head out of here. I don't see any more questions. But if anything does come up, you know where to find me. Thank you all for joining me this evening. I hope you learned a lot about mindfulness meditation and shamatha and how to meditate with your eyes open. I'll see you here for the next practice. Have a good one.